Welcome YouTube, and welcome to Battle Family Prep, where we cover everything hiking, camping, and prep. In today's video, we're going to go over failed equipment and failed hiking trips. It can happen to everyone. So, let's get going. So I'm going to be showing a few clips here in the video. I did go out and try a 7-day hike. Was going to do 100 miles across the Appalachian Trail. We started at Sky Meadows and was going to end up at Doyle's Doyle's River parking way down in the Skyline Drive, Shenandoah National Park. It rained. There was a couple of rain days, solid rain all day long. We got high up in the mountains, high up in elevation. The temperatures dropped. The fog was chest level everywhere. Got there, of course, you know, you're soaking wet. And like I said, I'll insert some of that stuff. I didn't record a lot of my lunch, setting up at camp, and it all had to do with weather. We got to camp. Was soaking wet, feet wet, pants soaked, shirt soaked, rain gear completely soaked, and that's one thing that failed immediately. Gore-Tex rain gear. It was great. It was breathing good. I wasn't getting total soaked underneath it. You know, of course, we're hiking, you're carrying loads of stuff. I mean, you're gonna sweat, especially when you're wearing rain gear. I mean, the Gore-Tex is pretty breathable to a point. Once it got cool enough in temperature and the raincoat got totally saturated in water, it no longer breathed. Every bit of condensation that was in the coat that could not escape just became water, and I became totally soaked. I was just as wet on the inside as it was on the outside. One of the other guys did have a Frog Tog jacket, which is not Gore-Tex. It looked more like a tarp, basically. And when we got up in the morning, I went to get my rain jacket because it was raining that morning, and it was soaking wet on the inside. I mean, the inside of this coat was just completely soaked. You could just wring it, and water just came out of it like it was a soaking wet towel. Ended up using my long sleeve shirt with a hoodie. We hiked out of there. We were going to go to, my wife was going to pick us up, take us into town. The other guy we were with, nonstop coughing. You know, he woke up, or when we got to camp to set up camp, he pulled out a sleeping bag. Sleeping bag was wet. Not because he didn't have a rain fly, because his Camelback had leaked inside of his pack. So I'll go over some of this gear here real quick. So this is my pack. I ended up being about 36 pounds overall. Like I said, my pack does have a rain fly, but the gear that failed me the most was the raincoat. Now I ended up replacing it, and I went with the Frog Tog. It does have a bottom and a top. I just went ahead and threw both in there. I don't know if I'd wear the bottom or not. Like I said, I was wearing wicking pants. I mean, they're pretty thin, guys, but when I hung that stuff up, usually it's dry by morning, no matter how much I sweat, what I do, or anything like that. But because it was so foggy and it rained all night, and there was so much moisture in the air itself, none of our gear could dry. Just none of it. It got down to 36 degrees at night, if not lower. Food bag, which I hang up because there are bears in the area. I did end up ordering a fleece insert for my sleeping bag. My sleeping bag, let me get it out here, only goes down to, so my sleeping bag Comfort is 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Its limit is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Which, I mean, if it's going to get down in the 40s, I just make sure that I've got some, thermals on, a shirt, a beanie, and then I get in there, and I've been pretty good. But whenever it got down to 36 and it was so damp, the cold, it was just too much. I did end up, I did get an insert to go in that should lower my temperatures where I can get down to about 27 degrees. It's just basically a blanket, a mummy blanket that I can crawl in and then crawl inside my sleeping bag. It's fleece, which would have helped my gear, because when we ended up getting to the car, we would have had to buy all new sleeping bags, all this stuff. So we ended up just saying, hey, we don't have the correct gear. Let's go back home and let's regather and get some other stuff so we can make sure we do this correctly without getting pneumonia, getting sick, doing something on the trail that's just, unsafe. That's the main part. You want to be safe, and you want to, hike, I wouldn't say comfortably, but to where you're not going to get sick from the elements and things like that. And I did end up buying this whenever I got back, and the Frog Togs. The other guy we were hiking with, he had the Frog Tog, this exact same one. Like I said, it just looked like a tarp raincoat. But when we got up in the morning, he was the only one with a dry raincoat. There was other people in the shelter. When we got to the camp, I couldn't set up my tent. The tent places were complete mud holes. Just complete mud. So the shelter had enough spots in it. We decided to sleep in the shelter. And as you know, the lean-to shelters out on the AT, whether you're familiar with them or not, they're closed off in the back, but the front is wide open. So all night that wind just can come right through. It's not like a tent where you can kind of warm it up. So needless to say, it was a very cold night. There was a lot of coughing all night long. You always worry about the person over there that's snoring. But mainly everyone just coughed all night because it was just everyone hiked wet. It got super cold up in elevation. Sleeping bags, at least mine, was not doing its job. I understand this is 1.6 pounds weight, my sleeping bag, but I think it would be worth it to carry, a 2-pound sleeping bag or something that would go farther down in temperature. You can always unzip and get out of the sleeping bag, but when you're getting cold, you can't add to it. I did get this, like I said, after the fact. So I did change up the gear quite a bit. And like I said, I'll show some of the video, but sometimes things happen. You'll go out, you've got gear, you test it, it fails. It's just a failure. You just got to try to regroup, get some better gear, and then go back after it. You don't want to, it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I don't have the correct gear to pull this off. I'm going to end up getting sick. There's no harm in that. And that's what happened this time. And like I said, the other guy that was with me, when he pulled his sleeping bag out because his camelback had leaked, this was soaking wet. So, and he's got the same sleeping bag as I do. So as soon as I pulled mine out and was getting in mine was dry, but his was wet. So not only did he freeze, he also had a wet sleeping bag. So I think there is something to having a liner in your pack. That way, if something happens, your camelback has a slow drip in it or something like that. If you did have the liner inside there, and I've never really thought about a liner because I've got, a rain fly that I put on my backpack or on my, and it stays dry. But if something happens to your camelback, that water's got to go somewhere. So, I know there's a lot of people out there that line their packs with their sleep gear first, and then twist that up and put it in there, because you can buy liners that are fit for the size of your hiking backpack. You just put that in there, throw your gear, kind of twist the top and fold it over, and it'll keep that gear from, and I was like, I don't need that. Actually, I may need that. So, like I said, I'll show some of that footage, go through it. Like I said, it was very beautiful. You can see in some of the shots, the fog was just through the whole woods, maybe chest height. There's a couple of places where I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but the other guy that we were hiking with, as soon as he'd get a little bit far ahead of me, he would disappear and then come back into frame. It's just kind of wild. It was very beautiful, but like I said, if you don't have the correct gear, it can be bad. Luckily none of us got sick. We, like I said, we all got to the road. My wife was going to run us into town to get some gear, things like that. But by the time we had hiked, it kind of rained. It rained that morning, but as we were going down the trail, there was kind of some tall grass on the side of the trail. And you'll see on the video, some of the trail's pretty narrow and the grass is kind of high. Well, you know as well as I do, whenever you walk through tall, wet grass, you end up soaking wet. So it wasn't very long that my dry pair of socks and my hiking shoes my feet were completely soaked again. And then before long, my pant legs from the knee down were soaked again. So we were gonna have to get socks, new rain gear, some kind of insert. And then we hiked over 6 miles to get to the car. We would have had to run in town. We just decided that we were better off just to go home, regroup, re-get some new gear, be more prepared for the next time, and then try to tackle a 7-day hike. 7 days worth of food is a lot of food. I'll just show you one of my days pack of food here. So that is 1 day's worth of food. And I'll do a breakdown of this. I think it's about 3,100 calories or 3,080 calories. I'll break it all down and have the calorie count of exactly how many calories are in this bag and what I was taking and everything else. Because I burn on a 15-mile day, I burn about 2,800 calories. So, if you're only taking Mountain House, you're only going to get about 1,500 calories, maybe 1,600 for that. So you're going to have 1,000 calorie deficit every single day, which is okay if you're doing 2 or 3 days. But whenever you're doing 7, that's going to add up, man, and you're going to run out of energy pretty quick. So, like I said, I'll do a breakdown. I think my wife kind of wrote on some of these bags how many calories were in each bag. I think she's got it written down on a piece of paper of exactly how many calories I was getting with the snacks, the oatmeal for breakfast, the ramens for dinner, Mountain House for lunch. So I'll break it all down and I'll do another video of just that. But like I said, I just wanted to cover and show some of the footage from the last hike. What went wrong, what gear failed. I know this is a summertime bag, and before we checked, the low that it was supposed to get was 47 degrees. Now, what is bad about that is when we're looking at the weather app, we got to pick towns that are close to Appalachian Trail. Well, they could be down, at different elevations, and then you get up in the mountains, it's going to be 10, 15, 20 degree temperature difference. So I think that miscalculation really got us. Like I said, I did add this so I can make the sleeping bag a little bit better. But, I'll just show the footage of the hike. Got some really good video. I think the GoPro did pretty good. There's a lot of fog. A lot of elevation changes. I think we got up to 2,700. I'm not sure. I'll have to check my hiking app and see how far in elevation I got. But overall, it was a lot of fun. We just stayed the one night. The next night, we hiked 6.5 miles out to the road. The wife was going to pick us up, like I said, take us to town, but we ended up just calling it. Needed to regroup, get some better gear. So I wouldn't call it a failure, but it was a learning experience and got to see what gear works, what gear does not work. There was one guy we came across on the trail. We were talking to him about, he wasn't wearing a raincoat, and he's like, they're all junk. He's like, cheap ones, the most expensive ones. He's like, once they get soaked, they're worthless. you just get as wet as you do on the inside, so I don't even wear one. I'm like, oh, all right. I was looking at my raincoat still soaking wet, hanging off the back of my backpack, trying to dry it. It still never was dry. I had to bring it home, set it in the garage in the fan to get it to actually dry out. But like I said, and I'll do another video just to go over the food itself, how many calories we're getting and everything else. Like I said, I never got to set up my tent. It was so muddy. I'm thinking about getting me a little Tyvek piece of what they wrap homes in and cut it to the footprint of my tent. That way, if it's muddy, I can just throw that down and it's not that big of a deal. I can fold it up with the mud to the inside and put it in my pack, or put it on the outside of my pack. I was just worried about that, putting the tent up, so we just stayed in the shelter, like I said. So, all right, I'll let you watch the film or the footage. So, thanks for watching. Hit the like and the subscribe if you get a chance. Thanks, and have a great day. Hello, YouTube, and welcome. Out here at Sky Meadow State Park this morning. Gonna hike up the road here, get on the AT, go southbound. Gonna hike through down Skyline Drive. Gonna try to do about 100 miles, 7 days on the Appalachian Trail. Should be pretty cool. We'll get going here, and I'll try to film as much cool stuff on the trail as we can. So we'll get going. Nice little sunrise this morning. Man, the mountains look awesome, guys. Just sit here waiting on our other guy to come, and then we'll hit the trail. Should be an awesome trip, guys. All right, guys, just still cruising down the trail, trying to catch up to the AT. I believe we're on the Blue Trail right now. So should be coming up to the Appalachian Trail, and we'll start heading south. So yeah, looks like we got 1 mile to the Appalachian Trail. So all right, guys, still on the North Ridge Trail, headed to Appalachian Trail. The marker we passed a while ago had 4/10 of a mile to go. We should be at the AT and start heading south. So should be coming up not too long. See something cool, I'll hop back on. All right, guys, looks like we made it up to the Appalachian Trail crossing, so we'll be headed southbound. So should be good hiking. I'll see some stuff cool along the trail. I'll turn the camera back on. All right, we got 7.7 miles to Manassas Gap. I think we're gonna be staying a little bit past that. I know from Ashby Gap, I believe it was a 14-mile hike to our first campground. Kind of getting geared up. It's probably gonna rain on us. So just getting prepared for the rain. It's pretty foggy down here. We got up high enough into elevation that we're kind of among the clouds now. Pretty cool looking. So now that we're up the top of the hill and I caught my breath, maybe we can make up a little bit of time here. We kind of took a break there and got our rain flies on our backpacks. So just try to pick them up, put them down, get some miles in here. We stopped for lunch. Probably stop at Manassas Gap, have lunch, see some cool overlooks or some cool features down the trail. I'll turn the camera back on. So this is kind of about what the trail's been. A couple of downs and ups so far. Just enough to make you winded. But so far so good. Not super rocky, but we all know how that can change in a matter of minutes on the AT. So, but so far, pretty good trail coming down this way. So, see something exciting or something cool along the way, I'll turn the camera back on. All right, Manassas Gap, 4.7 miles. So, kind of a intersection here. I don't know what's this one say? Oh, Whiskey Hollow Shelter. Sweet. Well, looks pretty cool in here getting up to the top. Kind of foggy. Kind of went down a hill, lost like 300-foot elevation. We just gained it back, I can tell you that. That's a pretty good. It's not straight up, but it's just constant. But yeah, looks pretty cool up here. All the fog and just really foggy. Very cool. Just some wildflowers along the trail here. Kind of hit a little flat spot here. Able to actually catch my breath. Kind of winded after that. I'm sure my pack a day of cigarettes doesn't help. But I've got 7 days out here on the trail without any, so good time to quit. Yeah, this part of the trail isn't too bad. Like I said, it was clear like this, but it was pretty much, you know, at a pretty good steep incline. A few switchbacks, kind of break it up a little bit, but it was a pretty good ascend. But so far the trail hasn't been too bad. We did cross a creek back there that was pretty rocky. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth. Like I said, just kind of uphill. So, man, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but man, it's super foggy. Kind of on this side of the hill, headed down. Wow. Looks very cool. I'll see something else. I'll turn the camera back on. All right, just headed down the trail. Still pretty foggy, but it's trying to rain. At some points it seems like it's going to rain, and then some points it just stops. But the temperature has dropped quite a bit. It's kind of chilly. It's probably just because I'm really sweaty, but yeah, we're headed down probably into a valley, so maybe this will be Manassas Gap. We can eat lunch. If not, I guess we'll be going back up the other side back to the mountain ridge. So still really foggy in the woods here. So, well, still some pretty dense fog. We haven't made it to Manassas Gap to eat lunch yet, but man, it's really foggy. Hopefully the camera's picking that up, but just kind of still cruising down the trail here. But yeah, man, it is foggy. Look up in the woods, man, it's awesome. All right, just left Manassas Gap. Stopped and had some lunch. Back on the trail. I think we got 4 or 5 miles, maybe a little bit more. Get to our first campground where we stay the night. So shouldn't be too bad. So get to the campground, I'll turn the camera back on. Just steady cruising here. Just some flowers came across. I'd never seen them. Kind of cool looking. I don't know what they are, but very cool looking. All right, coming up to the highway. What highway is this? 66? I think. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen. Pretty cool little bridge here. Cross, looks like there's a parking area here for day hikers and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty cool little bridge. Nice little stream down there. Yeah, pretty nice little, cool little deal. All right, came to an open spot here. Just kind of, I don't see any power lines. Usually there's power lines through the openings, but yeah, very cool. Should be getting to our campground before long. I don't know, maybe 2 miles. I believe after we ate lunch, we had 4. Probably be there 5:30 or something. Get camp set up, eat some dinner, and call her a night. Well, I had to stop there and put on get the rain gear back on. It's getting through the canopy. I don't know if you can see it very much, but must be raining pretty good. There's not much of a canopy through this little section we're going through. I think we got to go down, cross the road, climb up the next mountain, and I think we should be at our campground for the night. So not too bad. I think we've been, see, we started at 7, and I believe we may be there by 5:30. So I'll turn the camera back on when we get closer. Kind of need to be watching what I'm doing. This stuff's starting to get slick, so I'll turn the camera back on in a little bit. Kind of open back up here. Make sure the screen is clean there. Kind of came out of the woods, headed down. I think we got to cross a road at some point, then head back up the next mountain to our campground. Just headed across the field. Glad I got my rain gear back on. It's definitely coming down here. I don't know if the camera picks it up or not, but it's taking her slow and steady here. Rocks are getting slick, but we're almost to our campsite, so I think we'll be going to Jim and Molly Dent shelter. So should be headed back up the mountain down here somewhere. So I'll turn the camera back on. I come across something cool. All right, we just left camp from right down there. Just went into the spring, filled up our water. About to hike to the highway going into Front Royal. We're gonna have to dip into Front Royal real quick, get some other gear. Raincoat's just completely soaked all the way through. We're gonna have to get another raincoat and a beanie. It's getting low 40s at night, so my sleep gear is not rated for that. So we'll get that stuff, get back on the trail, get to the next campground. Yeah, pretty foggy here in the woods this morning. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but still kind of drizzling, so I don't know. My rain equipment is soaked, and soaked on the inside, so I couldn't take another heavy rain, so gonna have to swing into Front Royal, like I said earlier, grab some better rain gear and something to keep a little bit warmer at night. It's getting a little colder than expected. All this rain is just overcast like crazy, so kind of gotta dump some sleep gear off, get some new sleep gear, dump some rain gear off, get some new rain gear, and then get dropped back off and hit the trail again. So yep, just another foggy morning. Been all day yesterday it was like this, and starting off today the same way, so we'll see how it goes. See something cool, I'll get the camera turned back on. All right guys, almost to parking lot, AT Front Royal parking. Gonna get picked up, cruise into town, get some gear, a come right back and get dropped right back off the same parking lot, continue on. Should have about 4 miles from that parking to our campground. Just gonna keep on trucking here. Looks like our ride's already there, so I'm trying to hustle so my wife don't have to sit there and wait. Kind of a good thing when you're doing section heights and you're not too far from home. I think even when we get to our last destination, she comes to pick us up, it'll be, I think, a 2.5 hour drive for her, so not too far from home. But just keep on a trucking here. Got kind of rocky back there, about like this. Kind of slows you down, but not making too bad a time. See something cool, I'll turn the camera back on. All right, kind of hiking along it's a national park, correct, Justin?
Wildlife reserve.
Oh, okay, wildlife reserve here to the right, coming up. I think we're getting closer to the parking. I don't even know why I'm recording this, because we're about to quit. But no, should be coming up to the front row of parking. Got to cross the road and then we'll be at the parking lot. So very chilly, hands are still pretty cold, feet are soaked. This grass along the trail is good for soaking your shoes. I can hear the road, but yeah, little wildlife reserve. U.S. government property, no trespassing. I'm a taxpayer, so that means it belongs to me, right? Is that how that works, or am I wrong? I mean, it seems logical, but I'm sure they see that as a different way.
Open on the barbed wire. I got some quick pot and stuff, but I mean,
knowing my luck, it's probably electrified. Touch it and zap. That might dry my shoes off.